So welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 8744, and today, guys, we're doing my January recap of the top of the league. So for these monthly recaps, guys, I'm gonna be looking the games ahead and for the title race in each of the top five leagues, predict the games, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So for this one, so guys, I think this is a better way to do this, and so that way, instead of like go over the games itself, I could do it on the weekend streams, so you can check those streams out. So that way, this and this is a bit different. It's not the exact same thing because I kind of feel like it kind of is to some degree, so I wanted to change it up a bit. And yeah, so without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with the first league we got here. It is the Premier League. As you can see, this is the table right there. So we got Liverpool, Arsenal 56, Arsenal 50. Nottingham Forest is third, is incredible, 47 points. Chelsea on 43 points. Man City on 41. Newcastle 41. Bournemouth 40. Aston Villa 37. Fulham 36. Dang, Fulham is doing pretty well. Villa's doing not doing as well as last season. Brighton doing there pretty good. 34. Then Brentford mid-table. Okay, Crystal Palace. Dang, they were in the relegation battle at the beginning of the season. Now they're in the Tennessee United, Spurs, the battle of the mid-tables, 29, 27 points. I believe they're actually playing off against each other. I think it's next weekend, I want to say, so that's going to be pretty interesting. West Ham, they're not looking the best right there, West Ham. And then obviously Everton and yeah, Wolves, Leicester, South, Ipswich, and Southampton. So a very fascinating table right here for the Premier League, guys. We're 24 games in the season. And obviously Liverpool have their game in hand. So let's look at Liverpool's fixtures for the month of February. So obviously, there are obviously for the February games, guys. Liverpool do have two games that are not in the Premier League. Obviously, they got the Carabao Cup semifinal, the second leg, which they should take care of business against Spurs. You would reckon they should be able to beat Spurs. Spurs are horrible at the moment, guys. They're literally languishing mid-table, injury crisis. I would be surprised if Spurs get a result there. Then they got Plymouth, Argyle. They should be able to beat that team, but they got Everton and away. Now that game could be tricky. That game could be tricky. And you might be surprised I'm saying this, guys, but I actually think that could be their trickiest game that month because Everton away at Goodison Park, Liverpool tend to struggle there. Liverpool tend to draw points there a lot, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if Everton could get a draw there, or even Everton win. Now I think Everton win is a bit too, it won't happen obviously. But I could see Liverpool drawing. In fact, I actually am going to predict a draw for that game because that's a game that Liverpool typically struggle. Okay, Liverpool should beat Wolves. And then Man City away, that's gonna be an interesting one. Although nowadays Manchester City are so bad defensively that I think Liverpool can get a draw there. Right? They are even saying they might be able to beat Manchester City at the Etihad because yeah, City have not been great. So I'm gonna give if I have to give a point tally, I'm gonna say they'll get 5 points, which isn't the best, but I think it's doable. I think it's doable. And like I said, this is Liverpool's title to lose, and I would be surprised if Liverpool dropped this title. So I'm gonna say 5 points for Liverpool this month. Now we look at Arsenal. Arsenal, as you can see right here, for me, Arsenal is the second best team in the Premier League. They had just destroyed Manchester City 5-1 this past weekend. So I expect Arsenal to compete with Liverpool because for me, the rest of the other teams, they just don't have it in them. And I feel like Arsenal is the best hopes to stop Liverpool from winning the title this season. So Arsenal got the second leg of the Carabao Cup semifinal. I think they're getting knocked out. I don't see Arsenal doing a comeback, which may actually be a blessing for them because now they can put all their eggs, in the what is it called, the Premier League basket. So Leicester City away, that should be a win. West Ham at home should be a win. And then Nottingham Forest away, that's going to be a tricky one, guys, because we've seen how good Nottingham Forest have been, especially Chris Wood in particular. So I'm gonna say that could be a draw. That could be a draw, guys. In fact, I'm gonna say a draw for that one. So I'm gonna say Arsenal gets 7 points, and remember Liverpool have a 5 point, 6 point gap, I believe. And remember, Liverpool do have a game in hand, so it's gonna be interesting, guys, to see what happens with the title race. And yeah, like I said, Arsenal. We'll see if they can catch up the point tally this month. So let me know your predictions in the comments below, guys. How many points do you think Liverpool and Arsenal will both get this month? As we head on over to La Liga. La Liga. So as you can see, guys, this is the La Liga table. So Real Madrid's on 49 points. Atletico Madrid's on 48. Barca 45. And then you can see the rest there, Bilbao, etc. Co. And look at the relegation battle, guys. Valencia 19. Valladolid 15, 21, Deportivo Alaves. This relegation battle is also very intense as well. And even the European spots as well is very intense. You have Rayo Vallecano that's in competing. That's very commendable for them, and Villarreal as well. You even got Mallorca as well, which is pretty impressive. And Sociedad Betis struggling, they're languishing their mid-table. So Look at Real Madrid's fixtures. Ooh, Real Madrid do have some interesting fixtures. So they got Leganes away in the Copa del Rey, which they should take care of them. Then they got the Madrid derby this weekend. That's going to be a very difficult one because remember, Real Madrid are going through an injury crisis right at the moment. I think I just heard earlier today that Alaba is basically out, and I think Rudiger's out as well. So they're going to have to roll with the Madrid derby with Tchouameni and Asensio as center backs. And Atletico Madrid, they're looking good, guys. I mean, they just put five against Getafe. So that could be an interesting one, guys. I could see maybe a draw for that one, guys. I could maybe see a draw for the Madrid derby, even though Real Madrid's at home. That's a game to definitely watch, guys, this weekend on Friday. I'm sorry, on Saturday, for sure. Then they got Manchester City versus Real Madrid. I'll be doing a YouTube short, by the way, for the playoff tie. So stay tuned for that. That's coming in the next few days. Then you got Osasuna away in the La Liga. That should be win, and Real Madrid should be Girona. So really, the only tricky game they have is really in La Liga is really the Atletico Madrid game because for me, Osasuna away that should be winnable, and Girona at home should be winnable. So that's gonna be a big one, guys. The Madrid derby right there in La Liga. So let me know what you guys think, guys. How many points do you think Real Madrid will pick up? And remember, guys, we're just looking just the league fixtures, by the way. We're not looking at the other competitions. For Barcelona, you can see right here, guys. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. So we got Barcelona have got Valencia away in the Copa del Rey, which I expect us to win. Then we got Sevilla away. That should be winnable. Rayo at home should be winnable. Then we got this Copa Catalonia semifinal thing. I don't know what the heck that is. I think it's some kind of friendly tournament whatsoever. I'm gonna completely disregard that. Regardless, we should be able to win though. Regardless, and they've got Las Palmas away. Now that game is tricky, guys. Las Palmas. But remember, guys, Barcelona lost to Las Palmas at home in La Liga at the Montjuic Stadium. So we need to get revenge. Do we get revenge against Las Palmas? I sure hope so, guys. I sure hope so. But honestly, I'm not sure, guys. Let's see how the next three games go, but we should be able to win. But that could maybe be a draw. At this current moment, I'm gonna lean towards Barca win, but I could see us maybe drawing. Drawing is definitely a possibility there. And for Atletico Madrid, we look at their fixtures, guys. They got Getafe, which they already beat them 5-0. It's a bit outdated, but it's fine. What ifs. Then they got Real Madrid, the Madrid derby. I think for Atletico Madrid, if they could get a point there, fantastic for them. That's a good point because remember they haven't that's 2 points for them this season in La Liga. And remember, they haven't lost a Madrid derby to Real. They haven't lost a Madrid derby since 2 seasons ago. So this could be their fourth game in a row where they can pick up they go unbeaten against them. Celta Vigo at home should be winnable. And now, guys, this is a tricky game for Atletico Madrid because even though Valencia are garbage, they are horrendous. Atletico Madrid have a really bad record at Valencia away. At the Mestalla, they are horrendous there in general. I don't think they've beaten Valencia for quite some time in La Liga away from home. So that could be a tricky game, guys. And I think that's a game where Atletico Madrid could potentially slip up in. And remember, Atletico Madrid did slip up in the month of January, which they lost to, of course, Leganes. And obviously they tied to Villarreal. And Barca, we pretty much went unbeaten in the month of January. The only game where we didn't drop the only game we dropped points was Getafe. And for Real Madrid, obviously they had the last weekend loss to Espanyol. So that game is really tricky. That's a game where I could see Atletico Madrid drop points. And then Athletic Club at home. Even though it's at home, I could see Atletico Madrid also drop points here because remember, they barely beat Bilbao on the road the last time they played against each other. And I think it required a last minute winner. So I could see Atletico Madrid maybe crap housing that one, but we'll see. And remember, that's in March, so I'm a little bit going ahead, but that's a difficult game for Atletico Madrid. So for Atletico Madrid, man, I think the Real Madrid game is pretty much the big game this month. So other than that, they should be able to win the other games, but I could maybe see them draw points against Valencia. I could see that one maybe being a draw or Valencia win that one potentially. So La Liga, we have a very interesting title race ahead, and I think this La Liga title race that we have is going to be one to look out for because we genuinely have of all the top five leagues this is probably the one that's going to go neck and neck. And remember, guys, we got three teams competing. What other top five leagues have three teams compete for the title? There isn't any other ones. Moving on over to the Bundesliga, guys. So as you can see, Bayern are 43 points. 51 points, and Leverkusen 45. So Leverkusen have the gap is now 5 points. So Leverkusen, not been the best there. Remember, they had the draw against Leipzig, then Frankfurt 38, 33, and so on and so forth. So it's really interesting. And it's also very interesting that Heidenheim is a relegation battle, guys, when they obviously got European football last season. So not been great for them. Then Dortmund, like we're mid table. Stuttgart's looking good. Mainz looking really good. Gladbach as well. Freiburg. So we have a very interesting um, race there. And Hoffenheim is also struggling as well. So you look at Bayern's fixtures. Bayern, I would say, have a pretty favorable month. Obviously, I think the big game that everyone's looking forward to is that game against Leverkusen away at Leverkusen Stadium. Remember, Bayern haven't beaten Bayer Leverkusen for quite some time in the league. Remember, the last time they played against each other this season was a draw, and then obviously the last season, Bayern ended up drawing at home, and Bayern ended up losing badly 3-0 away. So that game is a really interesting one for Leverkusen because I think the Leverkusen can win that game. Oh, we have a very good title race because remember Leverkusen are 5 points behind. So I think that game could be very significant, guys, in the title race. Because let's be real, guys, Bayern should be able to win the other games. They should be able to beat Werder Bremen. They should be able to beat Eintracht Frankfurt, and they should be able to beat Stuttgart. Although Stuttgart, we know how good they are at home. So that game, Bayern could slip up. Then I could see Bayern maybe dropping points. But Stuttgart isn't the same as last season, so I think Bayern should be able to beat them. And so yeah, I think Leverkusen always gonna be tricky. So if I had to give an early prediction for that game, guys, I'm probably edging with a draw there for that one. That's gonna be a very interesting one though for Bayern Munich. And yeah, I think Bayern Munich needs to pick up these wins and beat the teams they should be beating. As for Bayer Leverkusen, I think Bayer Leverkusen have had it's a pretty doable fixture list. I think they have very favorable fixtures. I think they should be able to beat Köln. They should be able to beat Wolfsburg away. And then I think the big game for Leverkusen right there is the obviously the Bayern game at home. If Leverkusen really want to retain this title, they have to beat Bayern Munich. Don't go into that game trying to say, "Oh, we'll play for a draw." No, don't go for that crap. Beat Bayern at your own stadium. That makes it very fascinating. I hope Bayer Leverkusen win that game from a neutral point of view, so we can get a very fascinating title race. Then Holstein Kiel away, they should be able to win. And Frankfurt away, that is also a tricky one, but remember that's on March 1st, so not quite in the month of February. But I still reckon Leverkusen can get a result there, especially with Frankfurt letting Omar Marmoush go, of course. Now we move on over to Serie A, guys. The Serie A title race. And oh, look at the Serie A, man. In Napoli's on 54, Inter on 51, Atalanta 47, Lazio 42, Juve 40, Fiorentina 39, Bologna 37, Milan 35, Roma 31, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one. And as you can see right there, they put Qualamani in the thumbnail. Shout out to him, by the way, guys. Qualamani's been fantastic for Juve. In 2 games, I believe, got 3 goals, which has been a really good start for him. And I think he's had a good start to Juve, and we'll see how he finishes his season with Juve. But anyways, looking at Napoli games right here, guys. Napoli for me, they have a fairly favorable fixture list, but man, that draw against Roma away was bad. Conceding a last minute goal to Roma at home, away from home is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Then again, though, Napoli have had a pretty good month of January, you could say. I mean, they beat obviously, they beat Atalanta and they beat Juventus. They handed Juventus the first L of the season, and the Serie A was pretty fantastic, I have to say. So yeah, Napoli got pretty easy fixtures. Although that Lazio away game is really going to be tricky because remember, Napoli lost at home to Lazio, and remember, Lazio are really good at home, guys. So be careful on Lazio. So that could be a tricky one for Napoli. And remember, guys, Napoli do have the big, massive game against Inter that's coming up very early in March. That game is probably going to be the big, decisive game to look out for. So for Napoli, as I said, man, they got 1 game per week because they're not in European competitions, and they have to make the most out of this. So I'm going to say they'll get 7 points, which should be good for them. Remember, Inter do have a game in hand. Inter's game in hand will be played against Fiorentina on Thursday, and that game they should be able to win. That's a game you would expect them to win. And what the interesting thing is that they have Fiorentina at home again, so they actually have to play them twice in succession. So I would expect Inter to pick up 6 points. Although Fiorentina have been good this season, guys, they have been impressive. So maybe Fiorentina can pick up 4 points potentially. Juventus away, that's gonna be a very tricky one, guys. That's not an easy one per se. And then Genoa, and then Inter away, and then Lazio at home in the Coppa Italia, and then they got Napoli away. So the nice thing with Inter is that they got a top 8 at this Champions League, so they don't have to play any Champions League matches this month, which is great for them because you look at the Inter schedule, guys. It's a pretty tough schedule, you got to say. I think the only game I can see them winning comfortably is the Genoa game because even the Fiorentina, I'm not really sure if they're going to beat them twice. I could maybe see them getting 4 points or even like 3 points potentially. I could see Fiorentina beating them at home and then Inter get the job done. What worries me the most with Inter is really their away form because that away games they have this month is pretty difficult. They got Fiorentina and Juventus and Napoli. And remember, Inter are 3 points behind, but they do have a game in hand. And yeah, like I said, for Inter, man, we'll see what happens there. So for your neutrals out there, guys, which games you should look out for in the outside the top five leagues? I would say these are the two games you should be looking out for. I would say Porto versus Sporting, which is going to happen on this Friday in particular. That's a huge game. You definitely need to watch that. February 7th, and the massive and the Liga Portugal title race, and the Galatasaray Fenerbahce February 23rd. That's a huge one. And Fenerbahce needs to pick up a win there, guys, because Galatasaray are currently unbeaten right now, the Turkish Super League. So those are the games to look out for. And then obviously we had it massive game over the last weekend where Ajax defeated Feyenoord, so maybe they might be able to close the gap there and potentially win the Eredivisie. Although I think PSV is still the favorites there. Anyway, so I hope you guys did enjoy this preview guys video, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know which title race you guys are most excited for. For me, guys, of the five title races, I am most excited for La Liga title race. I think now La Liga is going to be very good. And I would say followed by Serie A. I think those are the two ones I'm most excited for. I'm more excited for La Liga just because there's more teams involved. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. Remember, guys, to like and subscribe. And peace out.